guys, let's look at shrimping. Okay, so shrimping is probably one of the very most important moves in jiu-jitsu. Just like standing with base, it's all about that hip motion. Okay, so there's several different ways of doing a shrimp, but let's start with the most common, basic, fundamental shrimp. Start flat here. Now, I'm going to bring one leg up nice and high, close to my butt. I like to put my thumbs together, and I'm going to get on my hip. Okay, so if my left leg is up, I'm going to turn to my right hip. I put my hands low, touching my quad right here, and now I'm going to use this foot and the weight, all my body weight's on this shoulder, to push my hips out. Okay, so you notice that foot and this shoulder don't move. So I push my hips away from my body about until my knee passes my thumbs. Now that knee bends, it comes up, and now I'm going to switch sides. The other leg goes down, I switch hips, and I repeat the process on that side. Okay, so my hips are moving out. Knee passes my thumbs, it bends. Boom. Hips moving out. Once the knee passes my thumbs, it bends, and I'm moving right there, just like this. Okay, this is a very important drill for escaping positions. We can also do side shrimps, shrimping out this way, okay? And then we talked about reverse shrimps, shrimping in. No matter how we do this, guys, it's almost always cross body, okay? So I can post far foot, near side shoulder, and I pull my hips under. Okay, so that's a side shrimp there. So moving my hips out. Oftentimes, guys, you'll hear this called a hip escape. Okay, a couple other options I see people doing very often. I don't like as well because I don't think they're as practical, but they do come into play at certain times. We can post the bottom foot, and we're on the same side. So same side foot, same side shoulder. I can shrimp this way as well, okay? So we shrimp that way. Or we can do both feet and kind of almost invert. Point the butt to the ceiling, pull those legs out, and turn back in. Okay, so feet down, invert, pull the legs in, and we move. Okay, so just to revisit the three, standard, cross body, same side, and both. All right, hip heist. So during the standing with base portion, I said head up, hip up, heist. So standing with base is basically a hip heist, okay? So what my hip heist is me coming either into a standing position or from my back to my belly, okay? Very simply, it's taking what would be my near side leg and pushing it through my far side leg, okay? So if I'm on my shoulder, my hip heist looks like this. Comes under, and I rotate through, and I go to 3 points, shoulder, and then my feet. So at that point, I can come up, or I can sit back to guard, okay? So we can treat this hip heist, if we're doing it as a drill, just as a left side, right side. Shoulder to shoulder, hip to hip. Okay, I'm just piking my hips up, boop, shoulder to shoulder, hip to hip. Now that's the most common way, probably the most used way of getting from our back to our belly, okay, or to our knees. There's a couple other versions. So we can also do a basic step over, which I don't find as common, but they do happen, where I'm stepping my far side leg over the near side, okay, which requires me to be on the same side foot and shoulder, okay? So as opposed to opposite weight, same side weight. Just a big step, boom, okay, so the end result looks the same. Back, big step, so far side leg over the near side leg. Boom. And I'm looking to be on the shoulder and on the toes. Boom. Boom. just like that. Then there's the hip swivel, okay? Where neither foot is posting. My legs literally just kind of swing, almost like a scissor motion, and it rocks my hips over. So just here. Okay. Sometimes you're going to mix it a little bit, so I might start with the hip heist and then switch the legs out really quickly. Okay, so just keep in mind, coming from my back to my belly, I can hip heist, so near leg under far leg. I can step over, far leg over the near leg. Boom. Or I can swivel my hips, where they just kind of cross. And neither is posting. Basic bridge. So we do this in Jiu-Jitsu a little differently than maybe in wrestling, okay? Reason being is because in Jiu-Jitsu I don't want to expose my neck. Okay, so my basic bridge looks pretty much like this. I want to bring my heels as close to my rear as I possibly can, okay? The closer my heels are to my butt, the higher my hips go. If my legs are way out here, I can't get my hips up very high. So the closer they get to my butt, the higher the bridge, okay? So I want them as close to my rear as possible. Now, traditional like wrestling bridge, I might be on my head, okay? Big bridge up, exposes my neck, okay? So I'm always adamant about keeping my chin down. And I can still be on my head, but I don't want to open my chin. I tend to just go over my shoulder, all right? So in general, I'm not bridging straight up too often. I'm always bridging to one side, okay? So hands in, maybe they're in my collar, maybe they're on the hips, but I'm bridging up as high as my hips will go on the shoulder, okay? So again, guys, we can drill this super easily. Let's drop down, bridge up, drop down, and bridge up. And now I'm making these little micro adjustments with my feet, making sure that I'm not pushing myself away every time. So if I feel like when I come down, my heels aren't near my butt, they're moving up again. Boom, moving up again. Okay, heels continuously move toward my hips. Trying to stay as tight as possible. I always want to avoid that space to keep a good high bridge. So, chin down, big bridge. Chin down, big bridge. Now we can add to our bridge. Maybe we add a shrimp. So I can go bridge and shrimp, okay? Or we can add a big hip heist to that, right? Bridge, hip heist. If you want to drill it, maybe you go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There's my hip heist. 1, 2, 3. There's my hip heist. Okay? So the bridge is a very common motion in Jiu-Jitsu. We use it for escapes. We're going to use it for like our upa escape. Just simple side control escapes. I bridge, I shrimp, swim. Okay? So that bridge is very important, but please keep in mind, heels to your hips or your rear, and then chin down, protect the neck. Too often we get caught bridging, and then next thing you know, you're getting choked. Keep the chin down, protect yourself. Good arch back, nice high bridge. All right, let's look at a front roll. Okay, so in Jiu-Jitsu, we're generally not doing a whole bunch of rolls, rolling around, but sometimes we're thrown, sometimes we maybe do like a Granby roll out of something. So it's good to have the ability to move kind of like head over heels, shoulder to hips. Real easy way I like to teach this front roll is pinky finger to pinky toe, okay? I draw a straight line all the way down, boom, okay? So we're just gonna start here. If you wanna start slow, we can go knee down. My left leg is up. I'm gonna put my right pinky on the mat, not jamming it, but nice and smooth, almost like I'm creating a wheel, okay? Now, I roll through, so I roll, boom. And we can land in this break fall position here, okay? But in general, guys, I like to spring back to my feet. So if I'm unwinding this, I roll through, I pull the foot in, and I come up, okay? Now, when we're doing it on our feet, it's the exact same thing. Instead of being down, I'm just a little higher. Touch the pinky. And guys, make sure we're not landing on our face or the top of our head. It goes over our shoulder. So I'm tucking my head. Okay, right here and up. All right. Now, some gyms, some warm-ups require the break fall finish, where I roll through and I land in a what we would call like a side break fall. Okay. Hand palm down, about a 45-degree angle, chin tucked tightly to my chest. Everything on one side of my body hits all at the same time, and this foot lands flat so I don't bang my knees together. This hand is on my chest to protect it from hitting the ground. Boom. Okay. From the side, very simple. I roll pinky to pinky, right? Okay, we can even add a little bit of athleticism to this if you want to start diving. Maybe I was thrown, can dive outward. It's the same thing, guys. So I can dive with the roll and the stand, or I can dive into the break fall position. But the important part of the roll is that I'm landing safely, not getting hurt, nothing. There's no impact on anything. So I personally prefer coming to a standing position as opposed to the break fall, but sometimes, boom, that nice break fall is kind of what I have to do, okay? So always we can start nice and low. We just have to get that momentum. Boom, and up. Start a little higher. And a little higher still. Boom. Then we can dive. We can start adding that athleticism to the front roll. The back roll. Guys, I think the back roll is very simple. It just needs a little momentum, okay? So the important part of the back roll is we don't go over our head, we go over our shoulder. Okay, so if I'm rolling over my right, I want to tuck my head to the left. If I'm rolling over my left, I tuck my head to the right. I think the easiest way to learn is to start low, build our way up. So I'm going to start just kind of in the squat position. Okay, if you want to start standing and then squat down, now I keep my back rounded and I'm just going to rock back. Okay, so if you want to start here, this is great. We can start here. Now, all I'm going to do is tuck my head off and roll over that shoulder. We go right to our knees, down, over the shoulder. It doesn't take a lot of momentum. As long as my back's rounded, you just go right here, okay? So then we can start a little higher, sit, boom. And then we can increase the athleticism. I can start piking up. And go over the shoulder and come down, or I can push off with my hands. Okay, but just keep in mind, rounded back, over the shoulder. So I'm not banging my head. And we just come up. Oh. Rounded back, over the shoulder, boom. Okay, very simple. Now sometimes some people like to add that rear break fall to it before they roll. All the way through. I'm not a fan. I think it's unnecessary. Creates a little impact I don't need. But some schools will do that during warm-ups and such. So it's always an option. Slap the hands. Boom. And then we back roll. Okay? And back roll. And back roll. Probably the most important thing I learned doing years of judo wasn't necessarily the throws. It was how to fall. Okay, so we call it break falls, which always sounds weird because you don't want to break anything. But what it means is you're breaking the fall. You're putting a stop to the injury that might result as part of the fall. Okay, So keep in mind with a break fall, it's very important that I land with everything on one side at the same time, okay? So if I were thrown to my side or if I fall into my side, and I've used this in the real world multiple times. I live in Indiana and there is ice several months out of the year, very often, okay? And it's really saved me from some major injuries. So what's gonna happen, let's say I'm falling or I'm thrown, boom, this is the posture I wanna land in, okay? Number one priority is to protect my head. I never want my head to hit the ground, okay? And if you've ever fallen running or fallen off your bike or something, what tends to get scraped up the most? Your elbows and your knees. Because when we don't know how to fall, we land on those points, okay? So I wanna make sure that I'm not landing on those points. I'm actually landing on the whole leg, the whole hips, ribs, and the whole arm all at the same time, okay? And beyond just scraping or hurting my elbow, if I were to land this way, I can hurt my shoulder and I can hurt my neck, okay? So as I fall, boom, everything lands all together. Chin tucked, this hand is placed safely on my chest so I don't bang my fingers. The foot lands flat with this side of my body. That way my knees don't clang together, okay, or hit the ground. So with this, we're gonna start in our dead bug pose, and I'm gonna fall to the side. Boom. Now, when I'm doing these, it's actually important to slap the mat, okay? What this does, it guarantees that my arm is straight, and I'm always slapping with the soft part of my hand like I'm squishing a bug, okay? So I don't wanna hit with the harder part, the backside, and hurt my hand worse, okay? This should be very loud when you're doing this in training, okay? So here, boom. Now, just for the sake of the drill, come back, I do the other side. There should be almost like a little bounce to this. Throw your hips up. Okay, so dead bug, up. We can do this from the front rolls. Roll out. Front roll, break fall, a little higher. Nice break fall. Again, always protecting head first, shoulder, elbow, knees, everything hits at once. Let's look at break falling going backwards, okay? Now, I personally always prefer to do a back roll if I can. But maybe I'm just taken down flat, my legs are still controlled, where I'm not able to roll. Maybe I'm near a wall or something where I can't roll out of it, okay? So very much like the side, is I always protect my head, so I tuck my chin as hard as I can. Both arms come down at a 45-degree angle, okay? So the easiest way to start this is just in a seated position. I hit my butt, I round my back, right here, okay? And then I just slap down, okay? Chin in. Oh, come on. Okay, and you can increase your height as you go. So notice my head stays off the mat. In the event that I'm able to, and I tried to break fall and I feel like my head's gonna make contact, oh, tuck to the side and roll, right? So I can always break fall and then turn that into just a shoulder roll right over the shoulder, okay? But if I can't shoulder roll close to a wall or something, it's important that I'm able to break fall, okay? So just start low, rock,